In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to take care of green anoles. So green anoles live in bushes and trees, so we want their tank to be upright rather than horizontal and on the ground. Even though these guys are a small lizard, they still jump around and are very active, so you want to give them a little bit of space. I keep a group of 1 male to 2 females in an 18 by 18 by 24 Exoterra tank. You can probably get away with a little bit smaller if you have one anole, but ultimately the bigger you go, the more fun you're going to have. I'll have some Amazon links to some enclosure options down below. Next, let's talk about substrate. You need a substrate that's going to catch their poop, an area for them to dig in and lay eggs, and somewhere that's going to hold onto moisture and release humidity. You can use pet store substrates like Reptiles from Zoomed, or you can use like a topsoil to play sand mixture. Whatever you choose, make sure there's several inches at the bottom, again to hold that moisture. Now for decor, what we want to do is give lots of twisting branches and vines for them to weave their way into and jump around amongst. That's the best way to keep an anole. Now you can buy really high quality pieces of wood like cork bark and cork branches. You can find that link down below. That is rot resistant and it won't go mouldy. Or you can go outside and take pieces of oak wood and things like that. Make sure you arrange your branches in a way that gives you access from the bottom of the tank so they can go down all the way to the top. Because at the top we're going to have them sit somewhere to bask under lights. But more on that later. Now let's talk about plants. Now you don't have to use plants, you can use plastic vines and decor like that if you want to, but if you're into a more natural look, we can use real plants. There's some budget plants like pothos, you can often find that online or at like Home Depots and DIY garden centres like that. A quick tip, get one of those plant pots and get one of those poles that go in the middle that are furry and have like cocoa fibre on the outside. The pothos will grow up that and it'll be the perfect place to put in the corner of your tank for anoles to go into when they want somewhere to hide. But pothos in general will also spread across the floor and go wild in your tank, making it look like a slice of nature. You can also get cheap plants from the grocery store if you go to the herb section and get a plant like mint. If you plonk that into your substrate, that tends to grow really well, it grows really fast, and that'll offer your anoles a lot of coverage in their tank. Now these lizards are from the southeastern USA, from areas like Carolina to Florida, so naturally it's very humid. So what we need to do is get a spray bottle and spray down their enclosure at least once a day, probably once a day to twice a day. What that's going to do is bump up the humidity in our tank, but also give water droplets on all of those leaves and surfaces for our green anoles to lick and drink from. They tend to prefer to do this than actually using, say, a water bowl. It's actually really easy because you're spraying, watering the animals, and watering the plants all in one go. So let's talk about lighting. Now these guys need 2 things to survive. A basking lamp and a UVB light. You want to put your basking lamp into a dome and put it over a branch or a section on one end of your tank. The ambient air temperature in your tank can be anywhere from the low 70s up to like 92, but giving them this basking lamp over a branch, it gives them an area to go sit in the light and sunbathe and warm up their core above the temperature of the air. And just by giving them this heat lamp, you're probably going to get those air temperatures in that tank too. Most household homes or bedrooms or living rooms are going to be in that sort of ballpark anyway. And the next one is UVB light. Now the UVB light is used by our anoles to make vitamin D in their skin so they can use the calcium that they eat so they don't get sick and get metabolic bone disease. Metabolic bone disease is basically just like rickets in humans. You want to get one of the long tube like UVBs and plonk that next to your heat lamp on top of your setup. Now it doesn't have to be a particularly strong UVB, typically anoles will have quite a weak amount and do just fine. I'll link some good options of UVB down below. Once you've got those 2 lights and plonk them to one side of your tank as best as you can, you can have a sunshine patch and an area of shade, as well as light to shade going down towards the forest floor, if you will. Now we want to have these lights on during the day for like 12 hours, say 9 AM to like 9 PM, that's perfect. And then at night time, turn it all off. So the anoles can have darkness to sleep, but also cool down. They can go down to like 68 at night easily. And to be honest, it can go even lower than that. My spare bedroom where the green anoles are, it can go down to like 55, even down to 50 at some nights in the winter, and they do just fine. As long as they get the chance to go bask in the sunshine patch during the day, don't worry about it. Once we've got all that sorted, the next part is feeding. Now this is what makes green anoles really fun to keep. They're so active and they jump around and they'll actively chase food. and it's really entertaining. You can feed them anything from crickets to cockroaches to flies to black soldier larvae to the black soldier flies to maybe mealworms, superworms if they can get it in their mouth. All types of food. The best thing to do is mix it up and make it as varied and as balanced a diet as possible, and you're pretty much sorted. I feed my green anole group once or twice a week, and that's working really well. Now my group have actually learned to eat from a bowl. So I put a small bowl of mealworms in a holder up on their glass, and they'll come and eat from the food bowl. So certain times I'll chuck a bunch of food in and it's running around and I have to chase it, and sometimes I'll put it in a food bowl so I know that the females that particularly are laying eggs, I can see that they're eating. Speaking of feeding, the next part is supplementation. So they need 2 supplements. I'm going to make it real simple for you. They want a calcium powder, just pure Ca, just pure calcium, nothing in it, without D3, just pure calcium. You're going to dust your bugs every time you feed it to them, and then the next powder is a multivitamin powder, and you're going to dust 1 feeding of bugs once a week, and that's it. That's supplementation done. And I found it can be made even easier because, like some geckos, if I leave a little bowl of calcium in with my green anoles, the females particularly will come and just nibble and gobble up some calcium of their own accord. So they self-manage in that way. They're really, really clever animals. So let's talk about how do you know if you've got a boy anole or a girl anole. So it's really, really easy. They're basically barcoded, so the females have a long white stripe along their back and the boys don't. It's that simple, and it's really, really obvious from the day that they're born. So if you look at your anole that you've bought and you see a stripe down its back, it's a girl, and if it hasn't got one, it's a boy. These guys are really easy to keep in groups. I keep a male and 2 females, no problem. If you get 2 males together, they're going to fight to the death, because these guys, especially the males, are very territorial. They'll often sit in different areas, signalling, bringing out their flag on their neck, and showing that this patch is theirs. So if you get a male and a couple of females, or just a male and a female, they are going to breed, and you're going to get babies. So you'll notice they'll be constantly mating, they'll be constantly locked up together, and the female will go into an egg breeding overdrive. Typically the females are going to lay an egg every 7 days. Now you can root through and find these eggs and incubate them, or you can do what I do when the room is hot enough, especially this time of year in the summer, the eggs just hatch out in the enclosure and I'll have babies in the tanks with the adults. Now sometimes some adult males eat babies and some are really good parents and don't eat the babies. I am very fortunate that my adult male, Yoshi, is such a good boy and he doesn't eat his babies. So I can just go in there every now and again and just collect babies and put them into a new baby tank. Now, one of the most common things that I will see people asking about green anoles is why can't they get their green anoles to go green? Well, their colour changing is partly down to their mood, but also it's down to their environment. If your anoles are typically quite happy, they will colour up and fire up and go green sometimes. Or if they're looking at other animals, like other males in other tanks, they'll fire up too. But if you have an environment that's really brightly green, they should be more or less green. If it's dark and brown, like my tank at the moment, then they stay brown. Now I'm waiting for my pothos plant that's in there to grow up and take over the tank, and then I'll see a lot more green. But if you want to see green in your green anoles, add more plastic green plants, add more greenery, and your anoles will get more green. Everything you need is going to be listed down below. If you like these types of videos and you want more anole content, subscribe because this is the place for that, and I'll see you in the next video.